do something.
So sorry, guys.
We have a short time, only hearing the left.
I need to leave at 6 in the morning to get here at 10 o'clock.
You're right.
Oh, we're okay. Well, Rabbi's joining us today?
I'm just
Oh, wow.
excited.
What am I supposed to do? It says that you're not allowed to say
Oh, no, come on.
in front of your rabbi. Could be in big trouble, yeah. Okay.
Just for the first two.
First 2 minutes. Okay, good. Now we can handle. You get to see a rabbi blush on camera. Okay, so Baruch Hashem, we learned the last couple of weeks. We were learning Perek Lamed Bet of Tanya, and now you guys remember for the first class that we had, you guys asked some really good questions. We're saying V'ahavta l'orecha kamocha, you have to love your fellow Jew like yourself, and then we had big questions. Well, how are you supposed to love yourself, right? Because if I'm learning how to love somebody else from loving myself, so first I have to learn how to love myself. We spoke about that a little bit, and then I said, you guys had Ruach HaKodesh, and you guessed what the next thing online was, and that's Torah Reish Pei Bet 282 in Likutei Moharan. And this is a very, very famous teaching, Likutei Moharan. Matter of fact, some people, Shalom, Chodesh Tov. With a smile like that, it's so easy to be b'simcha on Rosh Chodesh Adar, right? So, some people say that this is like it's definitely one of, but some people say this is like the most fundamental teaching in Likutei Moharan and the teachings of Rabbi Nachman. The main student of Rabbi Nachman, Rabbi Nassan, Rabbi Natan, who he over and over in his letters to his son and to his students and to other Chassidim, he writes over and over, go over this Torah and over this Torah. Every day it should be like new in your eyes. Never forget it. You need to use it. This is the most powerful tool that you can use to give yourself chiyus, to give yourself vitality and simcha, and keep your avodas Hashem very, very fresh. So let's jump in. He says, Reish Pei says, Da, you should know. Ki tzarich ladun et kol adam lekav zchut. You have to judge every single person lekav zchut. Lekav zchut means, it's taking this from Chazal. Chazal say, it says v'heved dan et kol adam lekav zchut. It says in Pirkei Avot that we have to judge every person. Usually it's translated as to judge them favorably, right? But let's actually go into the actual words of what it says. Sorry?
Until Rav Reuven comes in, keep on going.
Until he comes in?
Keep on going.
Yeah. Okay. So kaf zchut. Kaf is like two. What do you call it? Muznaim. A scale. On this side, I've got my. I used to have a friend in Texas. He used to call them bad deeds. I got the bad things that I've done, and on this side, I've got the mitzvahs and the good things that I've done. Right. So which side is heavier, right? So the Gemara says that a person should view themselves at every minute as if they're totally even. And the next minute is going to determine which side goes up and which side goes down, right? So, what are Chazal teaching us by this? We're supposed to view ourselves kind of like in limbo, right? We're supposed to know. We're supposed to keep a cheshbon. We're supposed to keep an account with ourselves of where our standing is in regards to our performance as Jews, right? There's a place that HaKadosh Baruch Hu loves us. We're B'nai B'chari Yisrael. We're Hashem's firstborn child. Hashem loves us. It's unconditional. Doesn't matter what's going on, right? Doesn't matter what we're doing. And matter of fact, I would even go so far as to say that in general, it's very dangerous to I'm going to qualify this statement in a second. It's very dangerous to measure ourselves through our performance and through our actions. We come from a society, Western society is very much built on what are you producing. If you're producing something, so you're worth something, right? We even say, the Rebbe Rayatz, the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe, said he couldn't believe it when he came to America and he heard people saying, how much is he worth? How much is this person worth, right? So he said, can you put a value on a person? What is he worth? What are they talking? He didn't even understand what they were talking about. They said, no, how much money does he have? Really? Interesting, right? So in other societies, you say, how much is he worth? What is it talking about, right? What's currency in that society? Oh, he's old, he's wise, he has a lot of children, he did a lot of mitzvahs, right? What is it? But the point is that when we base our whole self-worth, our feeling of self-worth on performance or on achievement. So it works wonderful as long as we're performing and we're achieving. But what about when we're not? What about when I'm sitting on the couch? What about when I'm tired? What about when I'm sick? What about when I can't perform because I'm going through something? And all of us go through things, right? So then I'm stuck, and then I'm really in trouble, right? So we have to know that there's the basis of our relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and therefore the basis of our relationship with ourself has to be based not on performance, right? But on the other hand, if Hashem would just tell us, "I love you no matter what, you're great," right? So how many of us would wake up for Shachris in the morning? Right? Yeah, we'd have 2 men in the minyan, right? So maybe for a little while we would do. Hashem says, "Look, it's great whether you do, you don't do, doesn't matter. I love you. I love you just the same," right? So it would be hard. It would be hard for us, right? We'd become spoiled. We become spoiled. We become spoiled brats. Hashem loves me no matter what. I can do whatever I want to do. So I'm going to the beach today instead of going to the Beit Midrash to learn Torah, right? So Hashem gave us these two almost mixed messages. I love you no matter what. Beni B'chori, my firstborn child. I love them no matter what. It doesn't matter what they do, right? Like the angel said when we came to the splitting of the sea. The angel said, "Rabbanu Shalom, I don't understand. We don't understand. Why are you sinking these and you're helping these go through? Both of them are idol worshippers. What's the difference?" In other words, we were spiritually on the state. Our performance at that moment was at the same place as the Mitzrayim. There was no difference between us and the Egyptians, right? So Hashem says, "Look, you have to perform. If you perform, you'll be closer to me, so to speak. If you perform, you get more reward, so to speak, right? But all of that is just to motivate us to do what we really should do. If we understood, like you guys raised your hands, you guys are correct. Of course we should wake up in the morning no matter what, because we're not doing it because we're scared to get punished. We're scared not to, right? It's because we love you, Hashem. We want to be close to you, right? But we need that motivation. Unfortunately, we're in a world that we need some type of external motivation, right? But we can't get caught in that, right? It's a very delicate balance. But now to go back into what Rabbi Nachman's saying here, or really what Chazal is saying, that we're supposed to. We understand that we have deficits, and we've got pluses. We've got good things, right? So when we judge a fellow Jew, and now you're going to say, wait a minute, you're not supposed to judge people.
We do it automatically.
We do it automatically. We can't help it, right? When you walk in the room, within the first 2.5 seconds, and you can count on, you can measure, you can count on, you've already made like probably 30 judgments in the room. It's unbelievable.
Sometimes even by the voice, we don't see the person, we just hear the voice, maybe from another room, and you think, he must be like that or that.
Right. We have a million judgments, and there might even be minor judgments, right? When you see a person's appearance, when you see, right, what might they have gone through? Like, there's a million judgments going through our mind all the time, right? So we can try to pretend that we're not judging people, but it's not going to help us because we are. So what we have to say is, how am I supposed to judge them? How, right? I'm always taking in information from other people, and my mind is trying to process that information and say, make a picture, to make a narrative in my mind. What's going on with this guy, right? What's going on with this situation, this community, this davening, whatever it is. So he says that tzarich ladun et kol adam lekaf zchut. You have to judge each person according to the kaf of their good. The kaf means the bowl and the scale. There's 2 bowls. I have to judge him according to this. What does it mean? What does that mean? It's interesting. Am I supposed to judge him that this is more than this? Doesn't say that. Lekaf zchut. Judge him on this side. Don't judge him on this side. Don't look at those negative things.
Judge them favorably.
Judge him favorably.
Even if in the case that the heavier side is the one that's the misdeeds, even then you have to still judge the mitzvot.
Correct. And we had a tzaddik that you guys, I'm sure, have all heard of him. The Kedushas Levi, Rabbi Levi Yitzchak Miberditchev.
Was he the one? He'd be the Rav of Rav Kook, right?
No. He was a couple 150 years before Rav Kook. He was one of the most beloved Hasidic rabbis of all time, and the lawyer of Israel. The lover of Israel. He would always, no matter what a Jew. I'll give you just a quick little story. Once he was going to davening, and he saw a Jew. I think he was wearing with his tefillin, and I don't remember the whole story. Maybe you remember the story. I don't remember. But he was fixing his horse's shoe before davening with tefillin, and he said, "Don't you know that you're not supposed to do these things before davening?" He said, "I know." He said, "And so you should come with me to shul." He says, "Yeah, but I'm doing this." And he said, "Ah, look how beautiful your children are. They're so honest." Right? He found the good in that situation. Similarly, he saw a person breaking Shabbos or something. He said, "No, you know what Shabbos is?" He said, "Look how honest your children are. They can't tell a lie." One time he was a chassid. This is in the beginning days of Chassidus, and so there was a lot of misnagdim. And Kedushas Levi was a wild Rebbe. Like, I mean, when I say wild, like he would start Shemona Esrei in this side of the room, and he would end up in the other side of the room, and he was just like, he was known as like really neshama digga person, right? But so a lot of the misnagdim would focus on him, and you guys know the misnagdim. Everybody knows misnagdim, the opposers of Chassidus. So there in his city, there was a major person who was the misnagid of the city. And his wife was a simple person, and and so one time, Kedushas Levi was walking down the street, and he passed their house, and she was on the second floor, and she poured garbage on his head. She poured out the garbage on his head. Can you imagine? On purpose. No, on purpose.
That's an Avera, right? Like
Oh, it's terrible. It's terrible. It breaks my heart to tell this story even, right? How could you pour garbage? Kedushas Levi, if you guys know who the Kedushas Levi was, not that I know who the Kedushas Levi was, but the stories that we have passed down and who he was is just like...
On the Sefer he is.
The Sefer is even just a tiny little droplet of... And so the Kedushas Levi looked up and he saw who it was, and he got a big smile, and he went to shul and he started dancing. So the story passed down. He said, there's a Jewess in this city who she listens to her husband. Anything that her husband tells her, she totally believes. She totally takes it in, right? Her husband told her that this Rebbe is like this, and so she poured garbage. Look at this, Hashem. Look how your children just want to do the right thing. Right? So we can't be on the Kedushas Levi. Matter of fact, the Balatanya said that the Kedushas Levi, when the Kedushas Levi came into the world, he opened up a new, whatever this means, a new Heichal and Shemaim, a new chamber in the heavens called Heichal Azchut, the chamber of merit, because he brought merits on the Jewish people. And there's a story after story after story of the Kedushas Levi. And so maybe we'll take a week just to tell Kedushas Levi stories, because it's amazing.
He was a very close colleague of the Balatanya, right?
He was very close to the Balatanya. And the Chozeh Lublin, the seer of Lublin, who is also a tremendous Rebbe, this is unbelievable. He used to spend 1 hour every day just sitting in solitude, thanking Hashem that he brought the Kedushas Levi into the world. Right? So the Chozeh Lublin, every minute was very, very precious. So we can... Anyway, the point is, Kedushas Levi personified this concept of look at the good. Look at the good, and now listen, now he's going to take it even further. Even if a person is a total rasha.
So, how can we do this for Vladimir Putin?
Oh.
We had to open this subject.
Right.
I don't mean this facetiously.
Right. Yeah, but it's funny. On Shabbos, we started talking about the war, and my daughter said, "Abba, we're not talking about it on Shabbos." Right, now it's not Shabbos. Right. So first of all, so just like we spoke about in the mitzvah of loving your fellow Jew, we don't have a mitzvah to love a non-Jew. Of course, like we said, Rav Kook said, naturally a person who's healthy should have love for all of Hashem's creations. But when it comes to judging favorably, it's the same thing. There's actually halachas of judging this kind of judgment, judging favorably who we're obligated, who we're not obligated to. It's important to learn those halachas, and this is not based on those halachas really. This is a teaching of Chassidut, so this is like beyond the letter of the law, right? So we're not obligated to judge Putin l'kav zchut.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah, it saves us a lot. Even though there are some good things that Putin did. I don't want to get caught. They're going to put me on CNN saying the rabbi said that Putin's good.
I heard that if there's like a king, even though he's like wicked, you still have to honor him or respect the king. I don't know, I heard it somewhere, but it was like an evil king. He didn't like Jews, but he would.
Right, there is such a thing. There's such a, you guys know, Putin had a Jewish teacher who he was very close with. She helped him a lot, and when he came to Israel a couple of years ago, he bought her an apartment.
Yeah.
And he had also neighbors that were Jews that took care of him when he was a boy. And he had apparently he has a certain level of hakarat tov, of appreciation for the Jewish people.
True.
But
Well, I heard he helps the Jews there in some sense.
yeah. So
I heard that as well at the Shliach conference.
Yeah.
They talked.
Rabbi Lazar, I think.
Yeah. So, what do we know? What do we know? We have to daven that Hashem should bring just rachamim into the world, especially on our brothers and sisters, that are running for their lives in the Ukraine. But so back inside.
I'm glad I asked you because that was insightful. Thank you.
Yeah. No, it's important. It's important differentiation to make.
Yeah.
So even a Jew who's a complete Rasha, right? Which, al pi halacha, you don't have to judge him favorably. But Rabbi Nachman says, even such a person. Now listen. This is what he says here. Tzarich lechapes v'limtzo bo eze me'at tov. You have to search for a little good in him, but not just search. You have to find it also. Right? I always stress this when I learn this. Tzarich lechapes. You have to search it, look for it. V'limtzo bo eze, and you have to find it. Don't just look and say, okay, now I looked, I didn't find, so now right? You have to find it, and you have to and in that little place in his life, eno rasha, meaning everything that he does in his business, in his family affairs, and everything, he's a terrible person, right? But there's one little place in his life that, in that little place, if you separate it from all the other parts of his life, in that place he's not a rasha, right? And through that, what does it do? Why is that helpful? Right? Ask the question, like from all the way back to Chazal in the Mishnah. Why do they want us to judge everybody favorably? Is it because you want me to love my fellow Jew? So
it's for our own benefit, isn't it?
So yeah.
To maintain a soft lave.
Beautiful. I like that. Right. Wow. So it shouldn't be standing in judgment, right? So it shouldn't be standing in judgment with people, in being harshly looking at people and being in a place of harshness and judgment, right? Beautiful. I like that. You had an answer back there?
Yeah, I'm just thinking about it because it's so radical. I mean, it's moving with every. It's not that easy to take it. It's just like you talking and
for sure
to do it like this, But I'm just thinking about. There's a lot of other things connected with it, Like if you see a really bad thing happening, how we can, where is the
right
moment where
sure
we are not blinding ourselves.
Absolutely.
I'm just thinking about it.
Right, and the truth is we have to be careful because there's moments of action where sometimes you have to step in and take action, and you have to know. Always, you have to be a responsible person, a responsible Jew, and protect people and all that kind of stuff, right? And this is not talking about that type of situation, but in general, when you think about people, you should think about the good in them, and you should find the good, right? So again, the question, like, what does Chazal want from us? Like, if it's to bring me to a place, let's say, like, let's go with what you said, which I think is a beautiful answer. If it's to bring me to a place where you should always be soft inside. So they have another teaching that says a person should never be hard like cedar wood, and he should always be soft like reeds.
It makes me think of, I think it's in Yehezkiel, where it says, I shall remove their hearts of stone and give them hearts of flesh.
Give them heart of flesh, right? Right. If it's to bring me to that, so tell me that directly, right? Tell me, be soft. Be soft, right? I just saw in the Sefer last week, a Sefer called Kavayasha, a very old, beautiful Sefer Musar, that says a Jew's mouth should never be saying bad things. It should only be saying good things and blessings to people, right? It's not appropriate for a Jew's mouth to be dirty with bad things, talking about bad things, right? If it's to bring me to the mitzvah of loving my fellow Jew, so say, love your fellow Jew. Like, what's the function? What happens when I judge another person based on the good in them? Something's happening there, right? Happening to me, happening to them, happening to the world. What's happening? That's what Rabbi Nachman is going to try to explain to us here. Not try, he's going to explain to us. And through this, that you find in him a little good, that little place of good. And not just that you find it. Because you could say, what could you say when you find it? Okay, he's got this little good, but there's a 99.9% of him that's not that, right? So I'm not going to forgive the 99% because of this one little tiny, right? But what are you supposed to do? Vedanoto lekaf zchut, and you judge him. I'll give you just 1 second. Just finish this last sentence.
The bad things you speak of, the Jew's mouth should not be full of bad things. So this means like bad words and also hara.
Yeah.
Negative.
Klalot, saying negative things about people. That's also lashon hara. Also just negativity. Negativity.
A negative attitude. Like,
Negative attitude, and especially those words, like speaking it out, right? If a person's in a negative place, so he has to do what he can do to bring himself into a positive place. But
isn't like curse words, bad words,
absolutely,
like a level of lashon hara?
I don't know if I put that in the category of lashon hara.
It'd be higher than lashon hara in some cases.
Yeah, I mean, if it's directed towards.
No, just saying bad words.
Right. So I wouldn't put that in the category of lashon hara. I'd put that in the category of what Chazal say nibul peh.
Okay.
Nibul peh means to degrade your mouth. It says meaning. It says a Jew, like it says in Shiashin, that his mouth should be filled with sweets. Right, should be delivering candies to people all day long with your words.
Not cursing.
Right.
Because I was in a Russian shura, and they were saying that they consider it lashon hara. Like it's
okay.
To say bad words is lashon hara, even though it's not directed towards someone. Yeah.
Right. Right. So I mean, it's technically if you define lashon hara, bad speech. So it's bad speech, but I don't know if it's in the category of lashon hara in the technical sense of halachic. But either way, whatever category it's in, we don't want it, אנחנו מסיימים.
We'll make a break 5 minutes. If you please open the windows, okay?
So I'm just going to finish this sentence.
Finish
So, by what happens when you find him, when you find that good, right? You search for it. 1, 2, you find it. And 3, you don't throw it out and say, well, it's not worth anything because the other parts of him are bad. Ella, what do? Danoto lekaf zchut. You judge him according to that place. How do I... listen to what's happening. We said when you walk in the room, you automatically judge everything and everybody in the room, right? So it's an automatic process. You take it from being an automatic process and you make it a conscious, manual process. As opposed to automatic, you make it manual. How do I want to judge these people? Right? And you judge him from that place. That's the place that I want to look at. I want to look at the place of good in him.
Your whole outlook will be better.
Your whole life changes.
Your whole outlook.
But listen to this. This is the biggest chiddush in the world. You guys are about to hold on to your socks. If you do that, al yedei zeh, through this, forget about you. Ma'aleh oto be'emet lekav zchut. You actually, in truth, raise him, his kav zchut. His good, that good, you push it. You in other words, that's what you emphasize that, not just right in your own mind. You elevate that good in him. V'yuchal, to the extent that, listen, this is mind blowing. V'yuchal lahashivo b'tshuva, and you can actually bring him to do tshuva through the way that you relate to him in your own mind. You didn't say a word to him. You might not even be in the country with him. You might be in Uzbekistan and you're here. Just by thinking about him, you can bring this person to do tshuva. And there's so many ramifications of this. We don't have time, unfortunately.
I've got so many questions.
Yeah, there's many questions. We'll go, Be'ez Hashem, next week we're going to go back over because just that concept in itself is just so mind-blowing.
It's even interesting. I noticed, and I was told this, and it's pretty true. If you just look at someone, eventually they'll look at you back.
Yeah.
And I noticed, I'm in shul or something.
Yeah.
And then I look, and I just look at a random person, just randomly,
Right.
and that person's looking
And
at
you
me.
feel it.
They
Yeah.
can feel
you feel it,
the
yeah.
look. Yeah.
Uh-huh. So now I'll just leave you just one little thought that, everybody might give you the chills a little bit, right? By me thinking about somebody else positively, I can bring them to do tshuva. All of a sudden it shifts things. So think about how each one of us got here today. There's people that are thinking positive about other people. There's tzaddikim that are thinking positive about everybody. And it's affecting the world, right? We don't have to just go stand in front of the Knesset and stand in front of the parliament to, holding up signs if we want to make changes in the world. The way we relate to other people makes emsdiga real changes in the world. Okay, God bless, guys. Sorry I'm late. I'm going to try to set out earlier next week.